Wahyuni dari Memberi 1 Bojonggede. Saya jadi salah satu investor di 2124 Memberi 2 ini. Alasan saya adalah karena saya ingin menjadi bagian, walaupun kecil sekali, menjadi bagian dari kebangkitan ekonomi umat Islam. Saya sudah lama mendambakan emas seperti ini, dan tentunya ini menjadi kebahagiaan bagi saya, keluarga saya, untuk bisa berpartisipasi dalam kebangkitan ekonomi Islam dalam bentuk emas 212. Saya mengajak kepada teman-teman, juga saudara-saudara sama muslim, mari kita ramaikan emas 212 di Bojong Depok Baru 2 ini, ataupun dimanapun berada emas 212 untuk kebangkitan ekonomi muslim. Testimoni dari saya, wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bagai gelombang terus menerjang, untuk tumbangkan segala kezaliman.
Brother Swagat, he writes beautiful books. Homosexuality, Sodom and Gomorrah, pornography, alcohol, beautiful works. I recommend them to you, these books. Not all, but these books especially, I recommend them to you. Read them, very good. But there are no solutions. You see, alcohol, I dealt with it last night, I think, by the way. He says in this book, alcohol. He says 11 million drunkards in America. 11 million drunkards, he says. These are his terms. In my country, they don't call them drunkards. Especially the whites, you can't call them drunkards. They'll punch you on the jaw. You have to call them alcoholics. They're sick people. See, when you say drunkard, it's very, very pungent, strong. When you say drunkard, but when you say he's alcoholic, the person is sick. So you need some treatment. 11 million, these are words of Brother Swagat, drunkards in America, and 44 million heavy drinkers. And he says, to me, no difference between the two. To me, they are the same. Whether you call them drunkards or you call them heavy drinkers, to me they are the same. I say, MashaAllah, MashaAllah, praise be to God. We have such a brother who speaks like a Muslim. The only thing is, I said, look, go one step further. To solve your problem, you have to go a step further. I said, include your social drinkers as well in that list of yours. Because the Holy Prophet Muhammad made no distinction between these three groups that you are thinking of. You've got the drunkards, you've got the heavy drinkers, and you've got social drinkers. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whatever intoxicates in greater quantity is forbidden even in smaller quantity. No excuse for a nip or a tot. Finish, out. He said, strong words, he said, cursed is he who grows grapes for brewing. Growing of fruit trees in Islam is an act of virtue, blessing. Allah will reward you. Whether you plant fruit trees for selling the fruit or for eating it, Allah will bless you, He'll reward you. He said, on one occasion, he said, you see, if you get sure knowledge that tomorrow 12 o'clock at noon, the earth will be doomed, finished. It's coming to an end. Yawm al-Qiyamah will set in, 12 o'clock tomorrow. And you were supposed to plant a fruit tree today. So what must you do? It will take 7 years for it to bear fruit. 7 years. He says, plant the tree. Allah will reward you. That mighty messenger of God, he said that if you plant grapes for the purpose of brewing, not for eating or selling, but for the purpose of brewing, like my place in the Cape, in South Africa, we have what is called the Mediterranean climate, and grapes grows beautifully there. That's the best wine growing country in that area. And you inherit 100 hectares of land, 200 acres of land. So what am I going to do? I said, plant grapes, the wine. I said, who's going to buy it? I said, don't worry, there's a winery there, there's a brewery there. Unlimited amount they are prepared to buy from you. I said, right. If you did that, the Prophet of Islam says, cursed is he who grows grapes for brewing. Cursed is he who crushes it. Cursed is he who bottles it. Cursed is he who sells it. And cursed is he who drinks it out. No, you have nothing, no truck with that stuff. This is Islam. And the solution to the problem is this, total abstinence, said the Prophet of Islam, on instruction from Allah, revelation of God in the Holy Quran. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, so you believe. Innamal khamru, most certainly intoxicants, wal maisiru, and gambling. In his book, one of the books is, the American public is spending $54 billion a year on gambling. Squandering. 54 billion and gambling, wal ansabu, and fortune telling, wal azlamu, and idol worship, rizum min amali shaitan, are an abomination of Satan's handiwork. Fajtanibuhu la'allakum tuflihun. So shun such abomination that you may prosper. And wine barrels were emptied in the streets of Medina, never to be refilled. This one verse has created the biggest society of teetotalers in the world, people who don't imbibe alcohol. Biggest society in the world. One word, one expression. But that's what God is talking about. He says, you've got to threaten the Muslims, chopping off his head, chopping off his hands. Therefore, they don't drink.
The person does not drink because he fears his hand will be cut off, or his toes, or his nose, or whatever.
Is that the reason? I want to know, you in America, the Muslims. I know we have black sheep amongst us, like any community has. We all have. You can't say we are all angels. But what percentage of Muslims take imbibe alcohol? In India, Pakistan, South Africa, my community, I'm boasting in my country. Perhaps it applies everywhere where the Muslims live. I said, we Muslims have the lowest alcoholic consumption in the country. We have the lowest gambling rate in the country. We have the lowest prison rate in the country. We have the lowest divorce rate in the country. We have the lowest suicide rate in the country. And we have the highest charity rate in the country. That's what Islam has done for us. لَعَلَّهُمْ Wallah, it's Islam. Nobody has threatened me all my life that I shouldn't smoke. My father used to smoke cigarettes. I don't touch it, my children don't smoke it. I didn't tell them one day in my life, one of the son is here with me, the other elder son is inside. I never told them one day, don't smoke. I never told them. No, sorry, I beg your pardon. Out of my 6 brothers, 1 or 2, they do smoke. They do smoke. But my family, no smoking. In my life, I haven't touched that stuff. Nobody threatened me. My father didn't tell me I mustn't smoke. I don't smoke. I don't gamble. I don't date. I don't court. I don't dance. Nobody threatened me. Said, look, if you do that, you go to jail. If you do that, you chop off your head. Nobody told me that. I don't know if anybody told you that you mustn't drink, otherwise you chop off your head. Anybody tells you here that? Anybody controlling you? No. What does it? I said, you see, in America, you, Christian nation, mighty nation, the mightiest nation on earth, America, you introduced prohibition in the 20s. Who did it? They were your leaders, people who you voted into power. In your Congress or Parliament, in your Congress they passed law, prohibition, run the country dry. You saw the carnage, that the havoc that this stuff was creating in the nation, the harm, the losses. So the brain power of the nation, people you voted into power, they voted on your behalf, passed a law trying to run the country dry. No Arab government ever threatened them. No Muslims ever threatened them. They said, look, if you don't stop drinking, we won't supply you oil. Because there was no oil. They didn't have it. The Arabs, they had no oil to threaten them with. They said, look, if you don't stop drinking, no oil for you anymore. No. It was your nation, your brain power, and you passed the law. And you failed. You failed miserably. The mightiest nation on earth, with the backing of the government, the brain of the nation, your propaganda machinery, everything put together, and your police force put together to try to implement prohibition, and you failed. This mighty messenger of God, in a desert country, among a barbaric people, he makes the pronouncement, and wine barrels were emptied, never to be refilled. miracles. What miracles are you talking about? Here is a miracle. With all your miracles, you can do nothing. Your problems will increase. You have your handful. These are handful. You say born again. I said now we get the Spirit in us. And we don't touch it anymore. So it's great. I take off my hat to you. Great. And everyone who testifies, everyone without exception, will tell you that I was a drunkard. I used to smoke marijuana. We call it daha, ganja. I used to take drugs. I used to do this. I was promiscuous. I was gay. I was a sodomite. But now I don't do those things anymore. I said, congratulations to you. Congratulations. But I said, you see, something took you out of the mire, out of the dirt, out of the filth. Congratulations to you. But I said, but the system that stops you from falling into the mire is a better system any day. Prevention is always better than cure. And you are not able to cure those 55 million drunkards. With all your Holy Ghost and all your lecturing and moving people, to queue up by the thousands, you will not be able to solve the problem. The answer is total abstinence. And the only religion on the face of the earth which says don't touch that stuff is Islam. Brother Swaggart has written many books. But there is one book is not forthcoming. On surplus women. Look, here is a stupendous problem in America. Stupendous problem. On mere figures alone, statistics tell you, I didn't come and count your men and women here. You tell me that there are 7.8 million more women than men. If every man in America got married, there will still be 7.8 million women who can't get husbands. Yeah, problem. Why don't you touch it? They are hungry. In New York, just next door to you, New York, they say there are 1 million more women than men. If every man in New York got married, there will still be 1 million women in the city alone who can't get husbands. What's the answer? What did the Holy Ghost tell you? I want you to tell them what the Holy Ghost says. Sublimate your passions. Is that what you do? Don't you need a wife? And you got a beautiful wife? He said, look, this is yesterday jokingly, he said, I told him jokingly. I said, look, Islam allows me up to 4. I said, up to 4. Though I have only 1. But Islam allows me up to 4. So he said, you see, I am allowed. Christianity, he said, allows me only 1. And, I have chosen the best. I'll take off my hat. Congratulations.
He was teasing my wife and I just before we came on and said Islam allows 4 wives. He just corrected me, said up to 4. I said, well, Mr. Deedat, Christianity only allows us 1, so I had to get the best on the first shot.
But you have solved one woman's problem. There are 7.8 million. Not only 7.8 if every man got married, but your gay population of New York. 1/3 are gays, sodomites. 1/3 out of if it was every man could get married, you still be 1 million women in New York alone. But 1/3 of your New York population is gays, sodomites, palmalut. You see, your culture, your civilization has created beautiful words, prostituted beautiful words for filthy dirty things. These sodomites, catamites and sodomites, you call them gay. The first time when I started, reading this in the newspapers, gay, I was getting confused. What is gay? By God, look, I'm not pretending acting. I am not a very learned man like most of you. You see, I passed through the elementary stage of education. I have been talking, so I talked myself into the position of talking. That's all. Academically, most of you, you're far beyond me. But I knew this word gay from childhood, from school. They taught me poetry at school. My teachers, poetry. It says, gentle lords and ladies gay, on the mountain dawns the day. I was rhyming that. gay. You used to call people, he's happy and gay. He's happy and gay. No, that is, he's a very jovial person, whether men or women. She's happy and gay. Man is happy and gay. I thought, nothing, but now they're talking about gay. So what is gay? You know, seems something suspicious about the way they're writing about gay. Gay. Now I know that for sodomites, you use such a beautiful word, throw it away. Now you are told our chairman is happy and gay. He might want to punch me on the jaw. So what do you take me for? You really get that? I said, no. When I used to go to school, you know, beautiful. Oh God is Allah. No more. Then God Almighty punishes them with AIDS. What a beautiful word, AIDS, for acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Nice. Then they reduce it to AIDS, filthy, dirty disease. God Almighty is, punishing you for it, but no. You see, you haven't got the answers. Islam gives you the answer to your problem. It says, marry women of your choice by 2s and 3s and 4s, but if you cannot do justice between them, marry only one. And there is a type of man who doesn't mind taking on extra responsibility, and there is a type of woman who doesn't mind sharing a husband. But your law won't allow that. They don't mind. You'll be getting a dozen illegitimate children every year. That they don't mind. You are a stud. Then you are a stud. They call you a stud. But if you lawfully say, look, I'll look after both these women and their children, offspring, I'm prepared to be responsible. So, no, you go to jail. You can plant your wild oats as you like, but don't marry. Sodomy, legalized. Lesbianism, legalized. But when it comes to lawful marriage, natural. Polygamy is natural, you say, oh, my dead body, go to jail. And I said, this is an answer to your problem. You won't listen, then you simmer in your soup. You see, soon after the war, the Second World War, I read a news item in my local paper, Dateline from London. See, we are in close contact with Britain because we are English-speaking people. It was, South Africa was a colony of Britain. So we are in close contact. Almost so many news we get from there. Dateline from Germany or from there, but mostly from London. And I'm reading a small headline, very small. It said, 5,000 misfits to be shipped to America. And you know the human mind is so imaginative that when I'm reading that, it conjures up a mental picture that these misfits must be cripples or people with hairy lip and clubfoot. That, the British people, they are not so advanced in my mind as the American in the field of medicine, so they must be sending them for treatment. Your hair lips and your clubfoot, sending them for treatment. That's the immediate picture of 5,000 misfits to be shipped to America. But when I read further, it says that these 5,000 misfits were the offsprings at that time, they said, of Negro soldiers stationed in England during the war. They said Negro soldiers. I mean no insult to my Afro-American brothers or my black brothers, but that was written then. 5,000, these are the offsprings of Negro soldiers stationed in England during the war. So I'm asking the question, this was on the west coast of England. I said, how many black soldiers were there compared to the white Australian, the white New Zealander, the white South African, the white Canadian, the white American, the white Free French, the white Poles, and your own British soldiers? Compared to all that, how many blacks were there? Negligible. Then soldiers, before they go, they're training, they're told to use prophylactics, birth control. You must not avoid getting infected with VD, with gonorrhea. Right. And then we also know that every arrow doesn't hit the mark, nor is every prayer granted. What amount of mischief was done in Christian England to produce those 5,000 misfits during the period of the war? What amount? Can you imagine? The havoc. These children of our Negro brethren were too dark to be absorbed into English society. You see, if you had your sister bringing such a brat in the house, and the child, boy is growing with a crinkly hair and with a little stumped nose and a little high cheekbone, this is everybody coming along and saying, who's this? He said, my sister Mary's child. Who's this? I said, my sister Mary's child. How do you feel? Your sister Mary's child. I said, how does it come about? You know, we are white. See, Caucasian, your father, your mother is white, your father is white, everybody is white, and where did you get this? He said, well, you know, some Negro fellow. My sister must have gone out with him, you know, and they do this. Oh, stinking. She said, look, let us send them to America to be absorbed into Negro society. So they shipped them to America. We don't know, I don't know to take names. You know, some of our leading men in America might be one of those 5,000. We don't know. But can you see? The answer. I said, you have a separate 4 million more women in England than men. 4 million more women than men on the East Coast alone. This is 1.6 million more women than men on the East Coast of England. What do you do with them? Tickle them, send them to Tibet, they're running short of women, send them there, what? I says, no, there is a type of man who does not mind taking on extra responsibility. I saw it on your program here. I was in Canada, and from across the border, from Buffalo or somewhere, there was a program being beamed in all directions, also to Canada, in the hotel. I switched it on, and I see a program about polygamy. And there was a man there, he said, I got 8 wives. He was an ex-Mormon. He was excommunicated. The Mormons at one time, they allowed polygamy, unlimited polygamy. Joseph Smith and Brigham Young had many wives. So now, because of the force, pressures from the other groups, he said, you Mormon, how many wives have you got? You Mormon, so they threw away. No more. But this Mormon, and he was telling, he gave a figure, a startling figure, about now, there's a 20,000 Mormons have been excommunicated for having more than one wife. They have them. They can't register them, but they have more than one wife. 20,000 Mormons. This man is at 8 wives, and they're all happy with me. And none of them were married before. None of them. They were not virgins, but they were men married before. Then from the audience, live audience, you see, one nice, plumpy, middle-aged woman, she stands up and says, look, what about me? He says, you too, give me your address, I'll contact you. You see, you ask those women who have got no husbands. There will be about 20 million who are in the marriage market, 20 million in the marriage market, at least, who are hungry for husbands. And they're hunting for men in New York. I mean, they're hunting for men. And the men are becoming shy and becoming gays. You know, before coming here, I left home, I think on the 16th of October, Pakistan, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Al Ain, and here. And I have been telling my people there, I said, you people don't be fools, man. Running to Bombay, running to Beirut, running to London. What for? I said, go to New York. Try and help them to solve the problem. Bring as a 4-4 at a time. You know, you must be 4-4 at a time. Your country is sparsely populated. There's no population, vast stretch of lands and no people. Saudi Arabia, with that vast expanse of land, there's only about 6 to 8 million people. I said, get them 4-4 at a time and multiply the ummah. Then Allah will bless you. You know, you'll be happy, you solve the Americans' problem, and you solve your own problem. Increase the ummah. If you can't propagate, procreate.